Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Uh, as Dr. Zubria told you, I am not that much expert, but have learnt a few words and can try to communicate these to my students. And I am focusing on materials because it is the key for technological development and economic development. So, do I know? This is the most important question. If we all know, then there is no need of this classroom. There is no need of university or college or school. So, first of all, concentrate your minds that we don't know and we have to learn something. You come across two types of things, one are goods and the others are bads. And from both of them, you learn. Do what the good people do and you follow them. And if the bad is not there, then there is no distinction. Secondly, regarding physics and material science, if you gather the whole knowledge of the globe since millions of years and consider the part of our time, because the mankind is living on this earth for millions of years, and if we gather our part, then and that part, the part of Pakistan, and then my part, then it will be 0.0000000 and an indefinite number of zero, and then there will be one. So we have no knowledge. If we knew, then we would be ruling the world because knowledge is power. So first of all, the human being, how many degrees he has or she has, or titles he or she has, we are all students till death, right? So first make that thing clear. Then why do we need education? And judging one's education output. If somebody from the outside world comes to you and wants to judge you that whether you are educated or not, they will go to the classrooms and give you mathematics problems or questions of physics. No. When they look at your road and the 10 minutes journey supposed to be done in 10 minutes is traveled in 1 hour or 2 hours, this means you are not educated. Nobody will come to your classroom to ask you things. So the first thing for education is that you are beneficial for the society. The prehistoric man also has the same need of education. The parents were the best teacher at that time, that they told their kids, don't go to that place, it will harm you. Don't go near water, you will drown there. That was the knowledge. So if the knowledge is not useful, if your street, your road is not reflecting the education you are getting in your classroom, this means that this is not education and you are going in some other direction. So first of all, teach people, teach the society that if we want to make our image towards the global world, it is very simple. When at master level or PhD level, a student writes an email to a foreign professor and the English is totally wrong, and then I request them that my student is coming to your university, he or she is interested in study, and her or his English is very good, they tell me it is evident from his or her email. So whatever you do as a university student must reflect the level of the university. Always think several times before you say something, before you write something, before you communicate something. Otherwise, the education will be blamed for your individual flaw or individual mistake. So, education in the old days, it has the same problem to make a better life. and today it is. And you are studying to have a good life on this earth. And if that aim is not achieved, then you are wasting your time, right? Be educated, and that education should reflect in your homes, on your streets, and in your institutions. Levels of knowledge, and knowledge for what? I told you that you need education for a better life. But what is knowledge? I am giving the example, for example, of Dr. Uzair. You people know Dr. Uzair, right? This is one level of knowledge, that you have seen this face and somebody told you that his name is Dr. Uzair. And other person says, no, I know he comes from that particular village. This is another level of knowledge. The third person says that I know his father as well, his uncle as well, his family tree as well. I know about the reason of popularity of his family. I know the nature of Dr. Uzair, right? So these are different levels of knowledge. Is the aim of your knowledge to see something and say, yes, I know it? But the aim of your knowledge is to apply it. So for application, the level of knowledge, if I tell you that, for example, Pauli exclusion principle, that no two fermions can occupy the same quantum state, right? Do you feel it or you just remember it? So the highest level of education is that you start to feel something. When you see something and you feel something, and when you start to feel something, you are nurtured in that culture and that education. I'll explain it a little bit further, but either you want to memorize physics, you want to memorize chemistry and write it in the paper and get at the end the certificate or degree, or its aim is you want to learn physics, then memorization is of no help. Learn one principle, but learn it in the best possible way so that you can apply. We always ask students that please write the equation for Newton's second law of motion, and they write F is equal to ma. I ask them that you are coming from Malakand, you are coming from Hazara, you are coming from Dai Khan, you fill the car tank with 30 or 40 liters of petrol, and it was finished when you reached Peshawar. Did the mass of the car change? 50% say no, and 50% say yes. Then I ask him, write the equation of motion in terms of the Newton's second law of motion, where the mass is changing. And it is very simple that instead of ma, write dp over dt and split that equation, because p, the momentum, is mass into velocity, and you can write it, but none can think about it, even at PhD level and MSc level. So your aim of education is not to memorize F is equal to ma. Your aim of education is to apply it. If you can't apply it, then don't memorize it. There is no. What is science? Science, I say a flower is beautiful. Is it science? Why? Because another person says, no, this flower is not beautiful. I have seen another flower which is more beautiful. And others say, no, another flower is more beautiful. So beauty is not measurable. Science, scientific fact, is something which is measurable. This laptop is 2 kg, and it is 2 kg in Africa, it is 2 kg in Peshawar, it is 2 kg in UK. What does this mean? Measurable? plus reproducible. So the basic definition of science is measurability and reproducibility. Beauty is neither measurable nor it can be reproduced because the color, it is a physical quantity. If something is red, in everybody's eyes it is red. But beauty is not a scientific fact. In material science and material engineering, I am coming to the topic that material science is the science of materials telling you the underlying principles due to which the material behave in a specific manner. That behavior, we need properties. The whole game is that of properties. You need light because it gives you brightness, right? So that brightness is the property. What is this property? What is the origin of this property? The property is basically, if I have this water and I put a little bit on my sleeve, right? It got wet, right? So how you define it? It is the response of a material to an external stimulus. You apply an electric field and something happens there. That is the property. And we are studying materials for specific properties for specific applications. So the property is the response of the materials towards an external stimulus. Apply electric field, the light switches on, the bulb switches on, and that is the property. Now, material science, materials behave in different ways. Some material, you press them and they develop an electric current, and you say the material is piezoelectric. And other material, you apply an electric field and it shrinks. You say the material is piezoelectric. And that sort of behaviors. So the principles, the study of the principles according to which the material behave, understanding that thing is material science. And material engineering is that you learn that this material does like this. And then you make products to apply or to bring those devices or components to the society. That devising, that making is the engineering. And in the shortest possible words, scientists, whether it is material scientist or physicist or chemist, they engineer, they build to understand. Scientists build to understand, and engineers understand to build, right? So you design experiments to understand a principle. So you build to understand, and engineers take these principles and understand them to build the device for the specific application. So why do we need material science and engineering? The next question is this. Don't draw hard lines among different disciplines. We need chemistry, we need biology, we need physics. All these subjects are needed, and we read them and we teach them for many, many years now. If I talk of my department, we taught physics for nearly 70 years. But what is its benefit to the society? If there was an intelligent president of the country or governor of the country or ruler of the country, they would have stopped this education. Because if you can't take your science to society, what is its benefit? Is there any product in the market coming from my department? No. If there is no product in my department, then why did I study chemistry, physics, and all these things for 70 years? How much expenditure it is? But the politicians and the leaders shouldn't consider that we are no worth, we are of no value, because taking science to the society need three things. An academic can make a material which has that particular property. Then an industrialist is needed to transform that property into a specific device or component. And the government is needed to facilitate the industrialist and the academics, right? So it is not only the teacher's job to take science to society. You need industry, you need government, and then the infrastructure in the university, which enable students and teachers to work and develop a conducive environment where people love to work, where people work day and night, because the people who work for 4 hours cannot bring revolutions. And the people who work for 18 hours and 24 hours, they will be leading the world. So that conducive environment is also needed. But among these, the most responsible person is this classroom, the teacher of this classroom and the student of this classroom, because the journalist, who is the opinion builder, he or she is also your product. The government, which has the whole power, they are also your product, our product. And the same is about everything. So teacher is the most responsible person, and we are learning physics and chemistry to take our science to society. But if I say F is equal to ma, or there is some other dielectric or ferroelectric laws and rules, they are not taken to the society. The society products will be made by the engineers, right? So physics, chemistry, biology, they are tools. They are tools to understand materials, right? They are tools to understand materials. And then you need engineering of material to transform your knowledge into product. So if you are studying physics, chemistry, biology, statistics, and many other disciplines, and you don't have engineering material in your country, in your university, in your department, then you can't take science to society. The simplest example I usually give people, that you are sharpening your sickle load, right, every day, but you are not growing wheat. So is there any need of sharpening that sickle or keeping that sickle? You need wheat. And I am struggling for the last many years that we should have world-class material research institutes in this country, so that we can gather the industrialists, the government, and all the people together. Now, the significance of this classroom, that we have two common types of people in the world, or you can say nations. The nations who have developed their institutions, their laboratories, their classroom, where they educate people, they teach skills people to know their own needs and the needs of the fellow beings. Their own needs and the needs of the fellow beings. And then have the relevant knowledge and industry to develop products for them. There was no shortage of electricity in Japan. There was no shortage of electricity in Germany. But when load shedding started in your country, the markets were filled with Japanese and Germans and Italian solar panels. What does this mean? Their leadership knew that what is the need of the fellow beings, and they marketed their knowledge, their science, and you are buying them. Everybody buys them, right? So it needs a government which can plan and assess the future needs and the needs of the fellow beings around the globe, and then the scientist and the engineer to transform the knowledge into product which is consistent with the global needs and the global standard. And that terms the people, developed people, or you call them the technologically advanced people. The people who don't have the resources and the skills and intelligent and smart governments, they are called underdeveloped people. And nowadays, the European and the other developed people, they don't want to offend people, and they are not calling them underdeveloped. The terminology is now the least developed. Dala or Behonda. Dala nui or Behonda way. These are the soft words, but the reality is the reality, right? We will have, as a government, as a school, as a university, we will have to show our value. Then we will move forward. And there is a third category which is called developing, the developing nation. These are those which have the potential, which have the resources, but they have not transformed them into products and technology, and that is why they are categorized like this.